and even how you take care of your health and your own family. Now, this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years. The crazy part is, he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties. In fact, Barron's called his work a dire prophecy. Recently, he created a video, which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Watch the free video at www.endofamerica3.com. That's endofamerica3.com. Hi, this is Alex Jones. This holiday season, more than half of our nation is in need of help due to the shattered economy. So now is the time to express the holiday spirit more than ever. Consider helping those you love with the most important gift, a supply of delicious, easy-to-fix, and very storable foods from efoodsdirect.com. Their holiday gift and family packs start at $99 for a 16-day supply, while their 5-week supply of quick and easy-to-fix meals includes a personal backpack in case of a grab-and-go emergency. Order their combo gift pack, and you'll save hundreds, plus get free shipping on your entire order. Call eFoods today at 800-409-5633 or visit them online at efoodsdirect.com/Alex to find the special. That's 800-409-5633 or efoodsdirect.com/Alex. You can bet your life on eFoods Direct.
You may be arrested and or subject to other police action.
Tyranny is here. The grim future foretold in 1984 has become reality.
It really says that the state is God.
The United States is now recognized globally as one of the most oppressive police states on earth. This film conclusively proves the existence of a secret network of FEMA camps, now being expanded nationwide. This documentary exposes how the continuity of government program has established an all-powerful shadow state. Police State 4 chronicles the sickening depths to which our republic has fallen. Prepare to enter the secretive world of emergency dictatorship, body scanners, sound cannons, citizen spies, stage terror, and cameras on every street corner. It's only the beginning of the New World Order's hellish plan. The police state isn't coming. It's here. Secure your copy today at Infowars.com or see it online in the highest quality at PrisonPlanet.tv. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here live. Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And normally we'd only have 27 minutes left in transmission until this Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. But no, my friends, we are going to be here live until 2 p.m. tomorrow. And we're just now getting, because we've been booking people right for the last minute, we're just now up at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Here soon, be able to send out a schedule of who's coming up. But let me just read to you who's coming up. Joel Scalzon was on. Webster Tarpley's on now. Dr. Catherine Albrecht getting into all the internet censorship, the control grid, the spying systems. It's really exploded. George Norrie needs no introduction. He's going to be joining us at coasttocoastam.com. David Icke needs no introduction. Mike Adams, Alfred Adask, Tex Mars, the Corbett Report. We've got Springmeyer. Aaron Dykes, Paul Watson, Reeves, a special on Skull and Bones, never before seen information, Gerald Salente, Alan Watt, Jim Mars, Bob Chapman, and more. Dan Dix, the list goes on and on. Great job to the crew and great job to all the listeners out there who are helping get all this information out to everyone. And, of course, in the run-up to this, we had Jesse Ventura and Dave Mustaine of Megadeth on yesterday. Jesse Ventura said the TSA is setting up martial law, and he's lived under it in the Philippines. He said people ought to riot in the streets if they keep Ron Paul out of a third-party debate. He said he probably would run with Ron Paul if he asked him in a third party. Ron Paul said if he doesn't win the nomination, he may do that. He may run. The question is, will Ventura be involved? Wow. Also, he brought up a bunch of other stuff. That's all at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Today, the Infowars MoneyBomb.com has the main free video stream of this 27-hour TV/radio extravaganza against tyranny. And there's also 3 or 4 backups on there that isn't just our servers, but backups The MoneyBomb site has been up and down a little bit because of massive traffic. And I want to thank all those that are donating right now at InfoWarsMoneyBomb.com. We will have open phones coming up later as well. Okay, getting back to Webster Griffin Tarpley. Webster, looking at all this, again, I'm asking you to make the call. We now learn you were right in 2007 when you said it's been green-lighted the next month. But we now know the green light was taken off. Cheney was countermanded. So was certain elements in Israel. Now you got Netanyahu before the cabinet. You got the media that hoax 2.5 weeks ago of the Iranian used car salesman in Corpus Christi, Texas. Turned out totally fake, run by Iranian opposition group funded by the CIA. And we saw all these top analysts come out and say it was fake, showing there is some type of power structure struggle going on. Is that enough to derail this? I know they're massing the forces now. I mean, I understand you've got an idea for a movement where Occupy Wall Street is not co-opted. Clearly, they tried to co-opt it, but now they're attacking them nationwide. So that means they were not co-opted fully. And I want your view on that. I know you want to talk about solutions and your particular view on the American system, but I want your political analysis. Do you believe they're about to hit Iran?
Well, the problem with attacking Iran right now that makes it more complicated than it might have been 6 months ago or 8 months ago is that Putin is back. And I think if you go back to 2007, the incident that you're referring to, right? Cheney had been demanding an attack on Syria starting in June. I made this public based really just on analysis, no inside sources, just the pattern of events. By July, I was putting out this newspaper article, Cheney determined to strike in U.S., and then we had the rogue B-52 at the end of August and the beginning of September, which was an attempt by Cheney and the group that he speaks for to hijack a B-52 with 6 nuclear cruise missiles on board, fly that to the Middle East outside of the command and control of the United States, but in the command and control of the Wall Street invisible government and start a war. So what stopped that? When that B-52 reached the Barksdale Air Force Base in Louisiana was the concern, I think, about Putin. How would Russia respond? What would they do? Not likely they're going to start World War III, but they would respond in some way that could be very, very painful and uncomfortable for the Anglo-Americans. So this is now a factor. But now we have a new factor. Let's look at the port of Oakland. I believe it's the 5th largest port in the United States. That was shut down yesterday by people who were fighting Wall Street. Now, whatever the particular program is or was not, I recommend a program. The general idea is we don't like the banks, we don't like Wall Street, and this is already a big step forward because, indeed, finance capital is everybody's public enemy number one. Wall Street is the enemy. So if the port of Oakland is shut down, even for a few hours, suppose other ports were shut down. What does that mean when the ruling class says, are we going to mount a large military operation in the Eastern Mediterranean in the face of a movement that has now shown that it can shut down a port? There are plenty of historical examples for this. Mass strikes can stop foreign wars. You could say the attempt of the Allies after World War I to invade Soviet Russia was stopped by revolutionary ferment, mass strikes with working class demands in countries of Europe and also to some extent in the United States. But now, therefore, we have to see what will Putin say? Will there be some kind of a move by Russia? There's already been the joint Russian-Chinese veto of the U.S.-British attempt to get the attack on Syria approved in some form in the UN Security Council. But that is obviously not enough. The hysteria of the Anglo-Americans is even greater. Now, I have to pull back a little bit and move to another part of the Mediterranean. Now, we got to talk about Greece for a minute. And we've got to talk about Cannes, right? We've got to talk about the G20, right? The heads of every top 20 country in the world are now meeting on the French Riviera, right, the Côte d'Azur. So what's going on here? I think this is really interesting, what's happened in the last couple of days there. And it allows us to see what might be coming inside the United States. Greece, of course, is in financial trouble because it's being attacked by zombie bankers and hedge fund hyenas using credit default swaps and other means, with the help of the ratings agencies, which have to be regarded as an arm of intelligence. In other words, they're an arm of the intelligence community, and what they do is strategically targeted. They're also very corrupt. They do insider trading and all the rest of it. So Greece is in trouble. It is a somewhat artificial crisis, although probably the Greek debt is somewhat larger than it needs to be. But it doesn't need to be this kind of a life and death crisis. Papandreou is the socialist prime minister of Greece, and he's been running this crisis the whole time. He's an agent of the International Monetary Fund. He represents the London and New York and other banks. It is impossible to run class defense when you've got an IMF agent sitting at the top of the so-called progressive coalition. That's what the Greeks actually have. So the Greek labor movement has been wonderful. They've come up with a dozen or maybe 15 general strikes, but they haven't been able to even get Papandreou out, partly because of this stuff. Anarchists have come in and said, no, we want to have general assemblies and facilitators and all the rest of this.
Well, let me stop you there, Webster. Webster Tarpley joining us. I mean, let's look at this here. What's going on with Papandreou saying we're going to have a referendum? We're not. We are. We aren't. Now we aren't. And we know he's a globalist. We know he's Goldman Sachs handled. We know that Greece supposedly owes $100 billion, but they need 1.4 trillion, leveraged 3 times, almost to 5 trillion. We know this is all a giant stinking fraud. And then you've got the Vatican saying we need to punish those bankers with a new Bank of the World and giving the bankers more power. And
let's be granular, okay? Let's get into the details on that, because the idea of taxing Wall Street is the obvious thing to do. The question is who gets the money. Now, there's a Delphic version of it.
By the way, they then call that collectivism, but we're all paying tens of trillions in banker bailouts that's stolen. You're saying actually claw back the money from these offshore crooks. And then they say, no, that's not free market. And Rush Limbaugh says what is free market is giving all your money in banker bailout to them.
The big issue going into this G20 in Cannes was that everybody in Europe, France, Germany, the European Commission, the Pope, you name it, as well as the whole trade union movement, they're demanding a tax on speculation, on speculative turnovers. Now, naturally, since these people are bad, they have a version of this which is not quite the right one. Nevertheless, the idea of bringing this forward is letting a powerful genie out of the bottle, and you can tell that the controlled media, the so-called mainstream media in the United States, never talk about the demand for the Tobin tax, the Wall Street sales tax, the Robin Hood tax, I guess some people call it, not a good term for it, the financial transaction tax. The point is, you put a 1% tax on Wall Street turnover, which is in the quadrillions, and you get trillions of dollars for the public till. That means you don't need genocidal budget cuts. You don't need to kill your own people in the name of a balanced budget that you're not going to get to anyway. But now the news of the past 6 hours or so, Papandreou had said, since my government is about to collapse, I'm going to call for a referendum. I'm going to let the Greeks vote on this. And this was a blackmail referendum, because it basically says either you embrace genocidal austerity and years of suffering and grinding poverty and want and misery for the sake of the zombie bankers in Germany and France and Britain and Wall Street, or you're going to be cast into the outer darkness, right? You're going to be kicked out of the euro. You're going to be kicked out of the European Union. And with your drachma will go to zero, and your living standard will also go to zero, because that's what happens. Leaving a currency like this is catastrophic. Now, it's clear now, this was a maneuver by Papandreou, the IMF agent. Today, he makes a speech in the Greek parliament saying, I don't need to have a referendum as long as I can get the Greek right-wing opposition to agree with me in a national unity government. Now,
so let me stop you. What you're saying here is the banksters didn't want Greece to default until the euro deal had gone through to give the banksters $5 trillion and more power over the states. Now that they've done that, now they do want to have it default to create even more carnage. No, I wouldn't put it that way. They're trying to stave off default by, as you say, this whole idea of the European Financial Stability Fund. It's about 500 trillion, and 500 billion, and they want to use
derivatives. They want to use credit default swaps and other derivatives. In other words, the cause of the crisis. They want to use that to increase the firepower, as they say, of the EFSF, European Financial Stability Fund. This is all crazy. It's physically impossible for the Greeks to pay that debt.
No, exactly, Webster. It's physically impossible, and we've covered all this ground before.
But wait. The new thing, this is what's coming at you, right? Coming at all of us right now is this model where Papa Andreou says to the head of the New Democracy Party, who are the reactionaries, right? They're like the Republicans.